Hello everybody, my name is Larissa and welcome to my YouTube channel. I make videos about health and wellness, fruit-based diet, veganism, raw veganism, spirituality, self-love, all of that good stuff. And in today's video, I wanted to show you guys this technique that I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you don't know who that is, he is a meditation teacher and I've attended a few of his advanced week-long meditation retreats, and I have learned so much wisdom from his teachings. They are truly life-changing. I definitely recommend checking out his books. They are really, really great. And I also recommend introducing meditation into your life if it's not a practice that you use already, because it is part of the holistic approach I take on living a healthy lifestyle. It's not just about what you eat or exercising or getting enough sunshine. It's all of the above and much more. So anyway, this technique is a breathing technique that is intended to basically open up the energetic pathways, the chakras, and awaken Kundalini energy, as well as activating the pineal gland. And basically, if you don't know what Kundalini energy is, it is the life force energy that is within us. We have a chakra system that goes from the base of our spine all the way up above our head. And for the majority of people, most of our energy is kind of stagnant and stuck at our bottom energy centers that kind of rule our survival needs. So a lot of the time, people in modern day society are living in survival mode and their energy stays stuck down here. And it doesn't make it all the way up to the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown and above, which is basically when we get out of survival mode and we get more into creation mode. We open ourselves up more in our heart and we open ourselves up more to the divine that allows the creative life force to flow through us effortlessly and create magic in our lives. So it's a beautiful experience to open up your energy pathways and basically live more the way you're supposed to, being a human being rather than a human doing, and just kind of staying stuck in survival mode, doing, stressing all the time, just trying to survive. We want to be able to open up and just be at peace, be in love, and experience life fully. So this technique will really help you get out of survival mode, get out of stressing, and get more into your creative power that you have as a human being, the magic, just letting it all unravel. And it's also a tool to direct your sexual energy, because your sexual energy is down in your bottom energy centers near your sexual organs. And it is also known as creative energy and Kundalini energy because they are all one and the same. Sexual energy is what creates life. And so that is, the same energy that is Kundalini energy, chi, life force energy is sexual energy. And so it can help a lot of people to control their sexual urges and use them, in a more creative way other than just sex. But you can also adopt this same technique if you want to practice Tantra or sacred sexuality, which is basically a sacred teaching of using the art of sex in a much more sacred and spiritual way rather than just an animalistic act that you do instinctually. You can transform sex into that animalistic approach into more of a spiritual experience. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later after I show you the technique. And I also just wanted to quickly mention a little bit about the pineal gland as well. If you didn't know, it's a gland that is in the center of the brain. And basically it's basically like a radio antenna receiver. When you learn about quantum physics and how there's all this information and energy all around us at all times, it's basically what gives us like our sixth sense, where we can like tune into information, like that feeling when somebody is staring at you, that like from behind, and you kind of turn around and you find out, oh, someone is staring at me. It's that feeling like basically intuition, and if you go even deeper with it, like psychic abilities. And the more we activate that pineal gland, the more we can strengthen our sixth sense and our ability to basically tune into the frequencies around us and be able to pick up on things that you can't see with just your normal senses. It can also help with being able to have lucid dreams and astral project, and basically having any sort of like mystical experiences like that. So it's really cool, and it's really a fun ability to begin to explore. So without further ado, let's get right into the technique. I will mention that this technique takes a lot of practice to be able to experience like the real thing, just like with anything you might practice, like especially physically, like any sort of sport or exercise. It's about muscle contractions as well as the flow of the energy in your body. So I would say you're probably not going to get it right away. It takes most people a lot of time, and I was able to like really deep dive and learn this technique at a week-long meditation retreat. I've been to 2 so far, and I'm going to my 3rd one in about like 2 months. So diving really deep into this in a retreat environment, it did take me maybe like 3 full days of practicing this a lot to finally have that basically explosion of energy. You did it right when basically we're going to be taking the energy from the first energy center, the root chakra, and bringing it through all of the other chakras and then up into the pineal gland. And we're going to be basically pulling up the energy as well as pulling up the cerebral spinal fluid up into the brain and pushing it against the pineal gland, and basically electrically charging the pineal gland, because there's these crystals inside of the pineal gland that get electrically charged by the substances in the cerebral spinal fluid. And when you compress the crystals with the muscle contractions that I'll show you, you compress them and then they kind of act like a battery, and then they explode with this energy that activates the pineal gland and activates its power as a antenna radio receiver type of thing, like I mentioned, basically increasing your ability to control your psychic abilities and all of these mystical abilities that you have, much more. So there's all these things happening on a physical level and an energetic level that we want to be paying attention to. But basically you're going to feel this explosion of energy in your brain, also called a brain orgasm, because it feels the same way an orgasm feels down in your sexual organs, but it's going to be in your brain, which is why people also practice this during sex, because they say that there is benefits to it. And like I said, I'll get a little more into that. I'll touch on that a little bit at the end of this video. But yeah, you'll feel an explosion of energy in your brain, and your whole body will most likely convulse, which sounds scary, but it feels very good. It just feels like a huge release of energy. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of like shaking, like people do shaking and stuff like that to release energy in the body. It's a really great practice if you're feeling like stressed or nervous, to just shake your whole body, shake the energy around. But your whole body will shake and convulse without you even doing anything. It will just happen when the energy kind of explodes out of you. And yeah, you'll just feel like super euphoric and like high on life. It's basically like just a natural high, and it's a great way to just feel a really large amount of positivity. It's recommended, if you're feeling stressed or anxious or even tired, it'll give you a boost of energy. You can do this technique whenever. You can do it when you wake up in the morning. You could do it, like anytime. You can do it as many times throughout the day as you want. Anytime you feel like you need just a little boost, or if you just want to clear your energy, whatever it may be, it's completely safe to do at any time and as much as you'd like. So, all right. So if you don't know, you have 7 energy centers or chakras in the body, and then an 8th one above. We're gonna be focusing on the first 6 today for this technique. And let me scooch back a little bit. So you have your root chakra, which is basically like at the base of your spine and, you know, down there. Then you have your sacral, which is below the belly button, by your, like for women, it's by the womb, and for men, it's kind of in that same area. Then you have your solar plexus above the belly button, your heart chakra right at your heart in the center of your chest, throat chakra, and then the pineal gland, which is in the center of the brain. And you want to be able to close your eyes and really feel where each of these centers or chakras are in the body. And closing your eyes and feeling is basically a technique you get better at when you meditate more, but you want to be able to turn off your other senses and just go inward into your body and feel where each of these are in your body. So just pause this video if you want to take the time to really sit for a while and feel where each one is. And I'm going to be calling them by the numbers that they are. So root chakra would be 1, sacral chakra is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So just take a time to kind of settle into your body and feel out where each of those are. And then next, I'm going to be talking about how the muscle contractions work. So we're going to be contracting the muscles around each energy center one at a time to feel out what we're going to be contracting during this technique. So let's start with energy center 1, the root chakra. So like I said, that's by the tailbone. To contract the muscles there, we're gonna be squeezing our butt and our perineal muscles, which is basically the muscles you use to go to the bathroom. So just squeeze those muscles, and with each contraction of each like energy center, we're gonna be squeezing the muscles in and up, because like I said, we're gonna be pulling the cerebral spinal fluid up like liquid through a straw. So we want to squeeze the muscles in and up. So focus on the ones that I first mentioned by the first energy center and squeeze those in and up. And then release. Squeeze them in and up and release. One more time. In and up. Okay, so now for the second energy center, the sacral, we're going to be squeezing the lower abdomen muscles. Once again, in and up. And it doesn't have to be like in and up. It can be like one fluid in and up. But I just was kind of separating them so you kind of get the idea. So focus on the lower abdomen, in and up, in and up, in and up. Okay, perfect. So for the third energy center, now we're going to be doing the same, squeezing in and up with the upper abdomen. So in and up, in and up, in and up. Once we get to the heart chakra, we're going to be pulling our shoulders back and chest out and just contracting all of those muscles, your back and your chest and your shoulders, just like that. Once the energy makes it to the throat, you're going to extend your neck, just like that. And lastly, at the very end, you want all of your focus to be on your pineal gland. And you're just going to be putting all of your focus there. And I will kind of explain what to do once we get there. So now that you got the muscle contractions all isolated, now we're going to put them together slowly one by one. So next we're going to focus on squeezing the first energy center muscles, like your butt and your perineal muscles. Once again, squeeze those in and up, and then squeeze your lower abdomen in and up next, then your upper abdomen, Then put your chest and your back straight. Then stick your neck out. And then focus on your pineal gland. Okay, now relax. Let's do that one more time. So squeeze the muscles at the first energy center, in and up, then the lower abdomen, then the upper abdomen, then the chest, neck, and focus on that pineal gland. And relax. Okay, so now that you know which muscles to squeeze for each energy center, I want you to picture that this whole technique, it's gonna be like a wave going up. So it's gonna start from, I like to think in my head before I begin, I think 1 to 6. I wanna bring that energy from 1 to 6. So that's kind of what I focus before I start. Then, as I breathe, which I'll show you with the breath next, as I breathe and then I squeeze the muscles like a wave from the bottom to the top, and I imagine it and I feel it, it's like, you know, a wave going up. So you're gonna breathe all of the air out of your nose and just relax your body, kind of let your body fall forward because your body's gonna be completely relaxed. And you're gonna take a long, slow, deep breath through your nose. And as you're breathing in, you're gonna do the contractions that we just did. You're gonna do 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, keeping them all squeezed, and then 5, and then 6, and everything is squeezed. And that's as you're breathing in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're gonna hold for just a second. Everything is squeezed. And then you're gonna do the same in and up kind of squeezing, but you're gonna pulse it this time. So you're gonna kind of, all of your muscles are gonna be like pumping up and down. All of those muscles like this, up and down, pump, pump, pump. And it makes it easier if you put your hands like this, because you can kind of leverage with your hands to push everything up while you're pumping. So you're gonna be doing it all after that long, deep breath. You're gonna hold your breath at the top and not breathe in or out while you're pumping. So it's gonna be like, you're gonna breathe everything out, slowly breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with everything contracted. Hold for 1 second, and then pump, 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 like this. All of those muscles in and up, in and up, in and up. You're pumping cerebral spinal fluid up into the pineal gland. You're knocking on its door, basically tapping on the G-spot to create that explosion of energy, which is, like I said, kind of like a brain orgasm. So you can honestly kind of imagine it like a big staff going up into the little door, tapping, 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 tapping. And Dr. Joe calls it making love to your brain, because that's kind of what it feels like. And he wants you to imagine it that way because he wants you to have the same passion that one has when they are making love. So that's kind of, the two are very connected. So, all right, I think it's time for me to show you what the technique looks like as a whole. And like I said, when done right, you will have a big explosion of energy and some convulsions. So just warning, like, I'm probably gonna look a little bit crazy, but that's just how it's done right. And if you do it the first time and the third time and the 10th time and you're still not experiencing what it looks like I'm experiencing, it's okay. It's gonna take a lot of practice. It can take people weeks, months, but eventually you will get there if you dedicate yourself, or if you do what I did and kind of just fully immerse yourself, like when I went to the retreat and we were doing it like for hours just over and over again. Like, you'll eventually get it. Everyone will. But anyway, all right, this is what it looks like. So I will show you. I'm just breathing in before I release it all out. Okay. I'm like, just feeling it. I just gotta sit in it for just one moment. Oh my gosh. Feels so nice. So, when you first do it, you don't have to go fast like I did. That's just, my Kundalini is very awakened, so it just moves for me. But when you're doing it, when you're new and you're not exploding yet, it's definitely gonna be more like this. This is the pace that I want you to do it at. So breathe everything out through your nose and then contract and breathe in. Pump, pump, pump. Do it this pace. And just feel the pressure building in your head. And like I said, you're gonna be holding your breath at this point when you're pumping. And what helps that pressure kind of build is you're not gonna be breathing any air in, but you kind of want, so you already have breathed in all the air in, and you kind of want to like not breathe air in, but use those same muscles that you do. Like it's kind of like a, if you know what I mean, like that like pressure. You don't want to push too hard. Do not strain yourself. Do not make it feel like your head's gonna explode or you're gonna pop a blood vessel. Don't strain, but it's just a light kind of like, I'm sure you can hear that noise that I'm making, but it's like not breathing in, but just squeezing. I guess you're squeezing all of these muscles in your body. Don't overexert yourself, but just, it should be like kind of a light, like contraction. And over time, like, I don't know, you'll settle in and you'll feel it out and you'll feel what feels right. But don't overexert yourself. Don't strain yourself. Just squeeze, 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 squeeze everything. And I just also want to specify on that breath, remember we're doing kind of a wave-like motion. So squeezing 1, squeezing 2, squeezing 3, squeezing 4, and keeping them all squeezed all the way up. And then once we pump, we're squeezing all of them at once. Squeeze, 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 everything, everything. And eventually you just keep going till you either explode or pop like I did, and then you kind of just convulse like I was shaking. But if you're not at that point yet, just keep going till like you're done holding your breath, and then take a nice long deep breath out, sit in whatever you're feeling, get back to normal breathing, and then do it again if you'd like. Do it as many times. I like to do usually like 3 in a row. And yeah, so basically that's the technique. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you want me to make another video like slowing anything down or going over any part of the technique that I need to address a little bit more, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I just wanted to touch on like Tantra and sacred sexuality really quick because it's something that I find really interesting. And basically when I learned this technique, I kind of naturally, without even knowing much about Tantra and stuff, like I knew a little bit about it, but I kind of just intuitively knew like, okay, we're taking our sexual energy and we're putting it into our brain and our pineal gland instead of just leaving it down here. And I kind of knew like that's similar to what people do in Tantra. And so I kind of was like led to learning more about that. And it's actually really interesting. because there's a lot of, basically almost all of the ancient spiritual teachings and really ancient religions kind of practiced sacred sexuality because they saw a lot of benefit in bringing that energy up into the higher energy centers, the more divine energy centers, which actually I don't really like that term because we're divine in all aspects, but I guess the energy centers that are more connected to the ethereal, these are more connected to the earth and the physical. So there's benefits because when we basically release our energy down here when we orgasm, we're just releasing it down and out and letting that energy flow downward. But if we're gonna direct our energy upward, which has so many benefits, because we should be doing that when we're meditating, we should be doing that just through doing like this breath exercise, like on a daily basis, even if it's not, you know, to do with doing it through sex. But when we do it through sex as well, basically we are performing alchemy. We're alchemizing the creative energy. Instead of using it just for sex and pleasure to orgasm, we're alchemizing it into this different kind of creative force that brings it up into the pineal gland to activate it and to be able to be used for creation in other ways other than just creating a baby, which is obviously it's like the most sacred experience, but most of us aren't using that to create a baby. We're just using it and then it's going to waste. But if we use it to create a baby of creation in another way, maybe it's to create art or something that you're passionate about, maybe something to do with whatever you do for a career, that energy, when it comes up into the pineal gland, into the brain, then activates the pineal gland to receive information of inspiration, of enlightenment, of peace, of whatever you want to call into your life, abundance, beautiful relationships and friendships and connections, just a more magical life in general, then that's where we can direct our energy if we're mindful about it. Obviously, there's a lot of issues in society these days with people being addicted to porn and sex and desire, pleasure, just trying to chase after things because their energy is constantly being drained. And it's life force energy, especially for men when they're releasing something that is the seeds of life. If they're just constantly releasing it daily, they're letting go of something very, very sacred and powerful for them. So it's definitely good to be mindful of where you're directing this very, very sacred, potent, powerful energy. And that's why it's been a very deeply sacred teaching of, basically a secret teaching even, of, you know, how to give ourselves superhuman powers, knowing how to direct creation energy, Kundalini energy, chi, and there's also lots of health benefits to it as well. So try this breath technique out, see how it makes you feel. Maybe dip your toes into the other aspects I was talking about. You don't have to have a partner to practice sacred sexuality and Tantra. You can have your own pleasure practice and practice alchemizing your own sacred sexual energy. And it doesn't have to be about achieving orgasm or just about experiencing pleasure. The whole purpose is about cultivating that energy, alchemizing it, and creating magic with it. Just like you would create a life, you can create anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love talking about spiritual topics like this, especially since these topics have truly changed my life for the better, like complete transformation and expansion and amazing positive stuff has come from practices like this for me in my personal life. So that's why I shared them here with you all. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this video. You can also find me on Instagram as well if you'd like. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube if you like my content. And I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!